Hello and welcome to Lynchburg Live. I'm your host, Linda Smith. My guest tonight is Peggy McFadden from the Humane Society of Amherst County. She'll be telling us about caring for the unwanted and discarded pets in Amherst County and the many things that we can do to help out with that. Peggy, welcome to Lynchburg Live.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
You know, as we get started, would you just tell us where the shelter is in Amherst County?
The shelter is located in the northern end of Amherst County, about 2 miles south of the town of Amherst, and there are signs on the highway directing you to the animal shelter, which can be followed.
And you just got a new building.
We did about 4 years ago, and we
Has
are
it
very
been that
proud.
long?
It has, but we are very proud of it. It has enabled us to be able to keep the building cleaner than the old building. We have air handling equipment that helps prevent the spread of airborne pathogens. And we also have an emergency generator that got us through
Wonderful.
the major storm this summer, operating as normal every day.
So as far as the animals are concerned, what is the major benefit for them?
Space. We can keep more animals in better conditions, better heating and air conditioning, and we have a septic system for flushing dog waste.
Wonderful. That's what, that's something, whoever thinks about that would be
Who knew?
a necessity, right?
It makes our life very livable.
I can imagine. Well, I have other questions associated with that, but I'm just not going to go into it. We only have 28 minutes. All right. Now, your position, what do you do at the shelter?
I am the office manager, and my primary job is to just manage paperwork among any other things, but I facilitate adoptions. Our building actually houses 2 organizations, Animal Care and Control, which is part of the Sheriff's Department, and the Humane Society, which of course is a nonprofit organization. Right. Animal Care and Control manages lost, stray, and surrendered pets. They are the source of our adoptive pets, cats and dogs. So regardless of where they are in the building, if somebody wants to adopt one of them, they see us for applications in that process.
And how long have you been there?
Almost 2 years.
Now, I have to ask this question because I know how I would be if I were in your position. Is it difficult for you not to get attached to these animals and want to take them home?
It is difficult not to get attached to them. For me personally, it's complicated to try and take them home because we have cows. So we have to be very careful what kind of dogs we have at our home. So I sort of help get other dogs adopted to other homes than ours. And rather than focus on individual pets, I try and focus on the overall goal of the facility.
I mean, you almost have to do that. But that's why I'm not there, because I know that I would take home the first 12 cats that came in.
Right, and then 12 more would be right behind them, and then what do you do? So I have taken 1 cat home. Actually, both my cats came from the shelter at various times. So
we always get shelter cats, and you feel like you're really doing as much as you can to help. Yep. Now, since we're in the middle of the holiday season, is it a good idea for people to give pets as Christmas presents?
We actually discourage surprise gifts anytime during the year, but of course, particularly at Christmas. So if somebody tells us it's a gift, we're going to say, we'd rather you do a gift certificate or bring the recipient to the shelter and have them participate in the process. Then it's an okay process.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
That just having a surprise cat or dog on Christmas morning is not.
People have been known to make mistakes on thinking somebody needs a pet and they didn't really want a pet. Right. So you have to be careful.
So that's a difficult thing.
Mm-hmm.
And how about holidays and hazards to pets?
There are plenty of hazards to be had with the Christmas ornaments, food, plants. You have to be very careful and know what kind of plants are in your home and whether or not they are poisonous to cats and dogs.
Before we go any farther, I did want to say that the building behind us is your new Humane Society shelter building that we were talking about earlier. I just wanted people to know what that is. do you have any statistics about the numbers of animals that you take in per month or per year?
The number per month kind of fluctuates, so I'll tell you the approximate number per year. For dogs, it's about 1,100. For cats, it's about 1,500. The good thing about dogs is we actually save 80% or more of the dogs that come in the building. The cat statistics is not nearly as good. It's only about 20% because there are far too many cats still reproducing out in the countryside because they can survive. So we'd love to see that improve.
Yeah. What is your capacity for cats and dogs?
We have 56 dog kennels in the building and 53 cat kennels. Particularly in the cat kennels, of course, there might be more than one cat or kitten in it. We can never reach full capacity because we are an open admissions shelter.
Right. Animal
Animal control will take whatever comes in the front door, and that applies pressure to the population to see who can stay and who can't. So our goal is to get them rescued out of there, either by local adoption or sending them out of state.
Now, that's something else I wanted to ask you about. You had told me when I was there recently about this program to send them to other facilities if adoptions are not happening here.
It's more a function of we're doing it all the time. One of our board members has taken on the role of rescue coordinator, and we have established relationships with shelters in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And we actually send a van just about every week with dogs and the occasional cat and the occasional canary from Campbell County or something, with pets from our county as well as a couple other counties. And they meet at our shelter at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we load them up and somebody drives off with them.
How can they take all these extra animals?
We have a kind of a cargo van, and then we have a minivan depending on how many are going, and we put them in crates, and it has 2 seats, the driver's seat and the passenger seat.
Do we accept any animals in this shelter, or?
We don't tend to have them transferred in because we get more than enough through animal
I'm
control.
Sure.
Right.
I'm sure.
Right.
Now, you said canary. What other kind of animals do you have besides dogs and cats?
Occasionally we've had rabbits and guinea pigs come in the building. We tend to get them turned right back around. We have a couple of people we know we can call and say, do you want a rabbit? And so we can get it back out.
I think people take pets that they have no concept of the needs of the pet or the
Right.
personalities associated with that particular species. Then they get them home and they find out, I didn't know that rabbits ate my carpet.
Or your furniture.
Or your furniture.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a friend who had that happen to her. Now, your foster program, I know that's an important program.
For us, actually not.
Oh, it's not?
We've done some fostering in the past, and one of the problems is the animal doesn't tend to be on the premises and available for somebody to just walk in the door and visit. We actually had a problem with a foster dog at a place that had livestock, and that's the other reason we've stopped doing so much in terms of fostering. So right now, the only time we do fostering is if we know we're in a transition phase from our shelter to another shelter or a home, and then we'll do a temporary foster with very select individuals.
I was going to ask you if people who foster animals tend to keep them.
They do. Yeah, I know a lot of other shelters that do that, and the shelters that we interface with up in New Jersey and Pennsylvania use a lot of fosters, and oftentimes they become not available for adoption because the fosters are keeping them.
Well, at least
They found a home.
They found a home, and that is the goal, I guess. How about I noticed when I was at the shelter, you have free roaming cat rooms. And that is just so cool. And there was a picture on your Facebook page that I meant to get and bring, but I forgot it, of 3 little kittens in a
hammock?
Hammock, yeah. And I thought that was so cool.
The one room in particular where we do have a little couch and a chair and room for, right now, 10 cats, it is very home-like, and they do have a chance to move around and play with some toys and get up on the couch and take naps, and somebody can walk in and sit down with them and pet them and interact with them, and it is a much more natural setting. We'd love to have more of that. But
I just thought it was very relaxed, and
it is.
Cats get along with other cats, and they don't if you bring one into a home that's already got a cat.
Right.
They don't always get along, but I think in that particular setting, they seem to really be like a family of cats.
Many of those are litter mates, or they grew up at the shelter and kind of either housed with or sharing one of those crates that had the hammock in it. So they've been together for some time now.
And you have an office cat.
We have 3 office cats. We have 3 office cats who have jobs. When we have to cat test a dog, we monitor their response to the dog and the dog's response to them to see whether or not the dog's going to get along with cats.
That's wonderful.
Right.
And they're working for their keep.
They are working for their keep,
cool.
exactly.
All right, do you have local veterinarians that you work with on a routine basis?
Yes, we have 2 veterinary hospitals in the county who have provided low-cost vetting expenses for the adopted animals that we've got. And so that makes them very affordable for people to come in and adopt them.
Do the adopted animals, do they get vaccinations and neutering before they leave you all, or does the person who's adopting them have to sign a voucher saying they'll be back?
Our adoption fee covers those expenses.
Great.
There may be a couple of additional vaccines that they'll have to pay for out of pocket, but we provide the initial vaccine for the distemper and the rabies, and a physical exam and a fecal exam and a heartworm test for dogs, feline leukemia test for cats, and then the spay or neuter.
I mean, that's wonderful to get all of that for the. How about prices for individual animals?
It's based on age. For dogs, cats are all $80, and that's exactly what the vets charge us, so we make no money on them. Dogs, it's a function of age. Puppies are $150. If the dog is age 1 to 5, it's $125. And at 6 years of age, we go to $100, and past that, it's $75.
I'm such an advocate for being a responsible pet owner, and I can't believe that people just have animals and don't bother to neuter them. If they did,
they'd put us out of business.
Yes, you would be out of business.
I think ultimately that's our goal, but not in my lifetime. It's a health hazard for the animals, and it's a responsibility to find homes for all of these new puppies and kittens. And it's an expense to properly care for them. So it is important that they be spayed and neutered. Otherwise, you have a surprise responsibility.
I mean, I just never have understood why not take that money and make it a one-time expense, and then not have to take care of all these other animals. It's, to me, it's a no-brainer, but you wonder why people don't do that. You brought some pictures. So Phil, if you'll put her pictures up on the screen, we'll get Peggy to tell us what they are.
This is the entrance sign onto the property coming down Shelter Lane, and it indicates that we do have the 2 organizations in the building, both the Animal Care and Control and the Humane Society. That is on the back side of the sign just displayed, and that is just us with our motto of "Until there are none, adopt one."
I really like the motto.
This is what's on the window looking into our office. Oh no, sorry, this is on the door to the building, because those are trees in the reflection.
In the background.
Right, and that's just the window display on the entrance door. That is the window in the lobby looking into our office area.
Oh.
This is a dog who, until recently, had been living in the shelter since June, and she had one of those magical effects of, we were taking these pictures getting ready for the show, and we took pictures of this dog, and about a week later she finally got adopted and got a great home. So she is no longer having to live at our shelter, but she was a very pampered princess while she was there.
Wonderful. No, that's a precious little dog.
This little dog was found wandering in quite rough shape. Had to have a lot of his fur clipped off and cleaned up. And he actually recently was also rescued out. He's actually probably about 10 years old. And we cleaned him up and put him on the van and shipped him north.
Cool. That's a beautiful dog.
She is. And she also recently got adopted, so the camera did its magic, but she's lovely. Or maybe he, I forget. This is the free-range cat room that you were talking about, and
Really?
the couch, and they were all anxious to come sit in my lap and be petted, given the opportunity.
Next time I'm there, I'm going in that room because I'm a big cat person.
It's good for lowering your blood pressure.
Yeah.
This is one of the, we have 3 big photo frames of dogs that have come into our shelter, and people have sent us follow-on stories and pictures. And they're all fabulous pictures. It's fun to see the history of the good saves at the building.
That more of the same.
More of the same, yep. People are very proud. Oh, this is one of the large magnets on our panel van where we put the crates and the animals to go up to New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And that's is the van, right? That is the bigger of the two. On our sidewalk outside the building, we've been installing memorial bricks. People can, for a $50 fee, come in and fill out a form, and they've got 3 lines of text they can request. And then on our sidewalk, as we get them in, we remove the plain bricks and install the dedication bricks. This is the gate entrance to our pet cemetery. It's been there for a long time, good 20 years, and we've had to enlarge it more than once. For the fee right now is running $85, and we have a part-time gentleman who does the actual interments.
That's great. I mean, the bricks plus this is a good place to memorialize your pet, and it's bringing in money for you all, and it's a good thing, I think.
This actually is as much a benefit for people as anything, because there's a lot of people that don't have a place to bury their pet if that's something they'd like to do. So, and then they can come visit.
Tell me, what chances do surrendered pets have of being adopted? I always feel so sorry for them having been in a home and then been surrendered. And
it is tough. It's kind of surprising how many senior dogs we actually do get out of the shelter. There are people that would love to take in the senior dogs and give them a great end of life. Cats, again, are more problematic than dogs, but age is not necessarily a barrier to getting them adopted out.
Our last cat, we adopted an adult cat, a 5-year-old cat, because my husband and I are past the age of kittens jumping out and climbing up your legs, and because kittens can be rambunctious.
Yep.
All right, but you have a program for people who want to surrender a pet.
As long as they live in Amherst County, they can bring their pet into the animal care and control, and then as they come in, we're always monitoring, who's coming in the building and seeing what we can do with them. And where there may be some unexpected medical expenses, as long as it's not just completely outrageous, we actually have some benefactors in the community that will subsidize that for us.
Wonderful.
That makes it gives them a better chance to be rehomed.
Now, you have a thrift store.
We do. That is actually our primary fundraiser now. We, until this past year when we had our 25th splendid raffle, and that was our last. We have now focused our energy and resources on the thrift store. We used to also do a once-a-year rummage sale, and it grew into the thrift store, and luckily for us, it is doing well.
Where is it located?
It is in the old Monroe Post Office, right on 29, right at the upper end of Monroe.
And what's the idea behind it? People donate?
People donate their whatever materials in their house they're trying to get rid of, and we turn around and sell it at a bargain price just to keep it moving. And all of the proceeds from the thrift store go to the operating budget for the shelter.
I think that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
What are your hours there, in case anybody
The hours
would like
at
to?
the thrift store are Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 5.
How about our club donates used inkjet cartridges to
Mhm.
you guys?
Mhm.
Would you tell our audience about that program? Because that is a way to bring in some, not tons of money, but some money for you guys.
Inkjet cartridges and toner cartridges from the laser printers can be recycled as opposed to just thrown in the trash. And when they are recycled, the companies provide a minor fee, and so instead of you collecting the fee and buying office supplies, your organization has generously donated that to us, and that provides income for our office supplies, to paper, tape, pens and pencils and that sort of stuff, so that we don't have to buy out of other money.
And that helps the animals in the long run.
Absolutely. The less money that we have to spend on those seemingly ordinary things is the more money that we can apply to taking care of the animals.
You know, I hate to ask this question because I don't want to hear the answer, but it is a question that needs to be asked.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have hoarding and animal abuse? Do you see that in Amherst County?
As long as I've been there, we haven't seen so much in the way of hoarding and out-and-out abuse. What we have had is a few cases of neglect. And so far in every case, when it finally goes to court, they've signed the animals over, and then we work on finding new homes for them.
That's great.
Yeah.
You just hate to think that happens, and
Right.
I'm glad it's not a prevalent thing here
Right.
in our area.
Mm-hmm.
Do you all partner with any groups or any grocery stores that assist you? Like, I do know at one time, one of the grocery stores, if they had torn bags of pet food, they would donate it to and that still happens?
That still happens. There are a couple of grocery stores that have been generous enough to do that. In addition, the Wildlife Center up in Waynesboro has a program where they get stuff from the Walmart Distribution Center on
Great.
81, and that's how we are able to provide free food for the local community, as well as stuff that we get to put in our thrift store. So,
That's wonderful.
Mhm.
I mean, I just think, rather than toss that food out,
Exactly.
why not feed animals who need it? And,
Right.
I know that Walmart has partnered with some churches and food banks,
Mhm.
To make sure that the food that is out of date
Right.
isn't just tossed out. So I'm glad to know that they do that everywhere. Do you advertise in the community?
We do. Within the local community, we have a Pet of the Week in the newspaper. We just had a radio station come from Lexington say they wanted to start advertising for us.
Great.
And we put posters out in local businesses, and then probably the primary reference is on Pet Finder, which is a website.
That's great. Now, you do various fundraisers during the year. We've only got about 5 more minutes, but can you tell me what your main ones are?
Well, now again, it's the thrift store instead of the
Okay.
raffle, but at Christmas time, we put Christmas trees in local businesses with individual requests on them, and people can just take the tag down and then bring us whatever was mentioned on the tag.
Do you have a needs list?
We do. Primarily, it's kitten chow, puppy chow, Frontline and Revolution, and bleach and cat litter.
And do you still need towels and that kind of thing?
We always take old towels and
Okay.
blankets from people. We're happy to make good use of them until they just completely fall apart.
Do you find that people make donations like that more at Christmas than during the year?
We do get more donations at Christmas time, which is fine, but we get a surprising number coming through during the year too. But you're right, most of them at Christmas.
You know, it amazes me that the public does come through when there's a need, or in the past I've heard people say, you know, we're really low on such and such at the Humane Society. On television they'll say that, and then people will come through, and I think that that's
We have a very
pretty cool.
generous community.
Yep. And you have a website and a Facebook page, is
We
that
do.
correct?
They are all essentially abbreviations of our Humane Society of Amherst County name. We take the HSOFAC at gmail.com is our email address, and then HSOFAC on Facebook.
Okay. And you have a newsletter.
We have a newsletter, and anybody who would like to receive the newsletter can call us and give us their address, or mail us a card and request it.
If you could say one thing to seems to me we have fire trucks out there. If you could say one thing to our audience about pet ownership, what would you advise or say?
I love having a pet, and I think any of us that have had pets would say the same thing. They are a responsibility, but they do provide wonderful emotional support. But you can't discount the responsibility.
Right. Right. What effect does working in this environment have on you personally?
This is one of my favorite jobs I have ever had. It is so rewarding. I give away a lot of time. I help with the load at 5 o'clock Saturday morning, and I love it.
I think that's wonderful. I mean, like I told you, I would have all those cats in my house. Peggy, I thank you so much for being my guest. And
it's been a pleasure.
I just hope that you all continue to get animals adopted, because I know you're so dedicated to what you do.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show, and that you will consider a shelter animal if you're thinking about adopting a pet. My next show will feature the science fiction convention Mysticon. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful Christmas. Good night.